All right, welcome everyone. My name is Dr. Peggy Shannon-Baker. My pronouns are they, them, and she, her. I am an associate professor of educational research in the Department of Curriculum, Foundations, and Reading at Georgia Southern. I teach courses at the doctoral level on qualitative research and mixed methods research, and then I teach a load of other research methods courses. And because of that background, the two doctoral programs asked me to host a series of lunch and learn sessions on research and inquiry. And so this is the very first one. It is called Tech Tools for Doctoral Students. This is a topic I proposed because in my work with students, either as a dissertation mentor or as an instructor, I have found that there are a lot of different tech tools that you all could use that could really help you in your dissertating or other kinds of work that you might not know about, or some features to things you commonly use, but the features you might not know about. So I wanted to showcase some of those today in this session. So I'm going to be specifically focusing on three different types of tools, but the overall aim here is to show you how you can use these tools to help you work smarter, not harder. So the working smarter is meaning working more efficiently, maybe working faster. Instead of doing some things by hand, you can let these different software programs do things for you. In truth, there's actually many different tools that I use, and I can't possibly go over all of them. Just because we only have an hour's worth of time, and I really want to be able to show you some of the tools rather than just introduce them. So I am going to focus on three different ones, and some of these you might have heard of. But I'm really hoping that what I show you, for the most part, will be new to you and how you use these tools, so that you take away something that's helpful for you in either your coursework or your dissertating work. So I'm going to talk about Google Scholar, which is a search engine for looking up academic sources. I'm going to show you Zotero. This is going to be a lot of the screen sharing work that I'm going to do. And then also some features of Microsoft Word that you might not be as familiar with, but I really think is going to help you to work smarter rather than harder. So thanks to the folks who have come in. People are introducing themselves in the chat as they come in. I really appreciate that. A lot of this first part is going to be me showcasing the tips to you, but at the very end, there's going to be time for some question and answer, or if you have some kind of challenge or concern that you want to raise, you'll be able to ask those at the end once I stop the recording. So the first one I want to talk to you about is Google Scholar. Just by a show of hands, either with a thumbs up or on video or with the raising of hands, how many people use or have heard of Google Scholar? Okay, so a number of folks, maybe about half. Okay, good. Google Scholar is literally my go-to search engine for looking for academic articles. I don't use the Georgia Southern Library search engine. The reason why is that search engine tends to populate with a lot of things that aren't really relevant to what I'm looking for. Google Scholar, the website is just scholar.google.com. You don't have to have an account, although if you set one up, you can save things into your library there. It is much better, and it will even show you things that you might have access to already as a PDF form. So I use Google Scholar in three different ways. So this is a screenshot of a recent search in Google Scholar that I did. I'm doing a review on critical hope. So just like with other search engines, I could put in quotation marks because I want to capture this entire phrase. And then it will show me some different things here. And I want to highlight three features to Google Scholar that I regularly use. The first one is this cited by, and you're going to see a number next to it. You might notice it's purple because I already clicked on it. Cited by is the place in Google Scholar where you can go to any of the things that they recognize that has cited this first work by grain and land. So the social justice turn, who has cited this, I can go to that whole list and see who has cited this work. I will use this if I read something that's really relevant to my work and I want to know, how many other people have done work in this area. On the right-hand side, you're going to see a blue box that populated around these different links that say HTML, PDF, or full view. This is Google Scholar showing me at home, not on the Georgia Southern internet or VPN. I can access HTML or PDF versions of these articles already. So some of them might be book chapters if they're available open access. Some of them they might have posted to like academia.edu or ResearchGate. So it's already connecting me to things that I could access online. If for some reason there was an entry without this on the side, I could go the long way and search for that specific thing in Georgia Southern's engine, but that's the only time when I go to their engine, is if for some reason I can't access it here. The third way that I use Google Scholar with a gigantic grain of salt, as they say, is this link with a quotation mark and the word cite. If I clicked on this, it would populate a list of different kinds of reference formatting for this entry. Now, they're not always correct or complete. The way that Google Scholar recognizes items like a dissertation, a journal article, is either it pulls that information from online, or me as an author can put that information in. If I put it in as an author, hopefully I've made sure all the information is correct, right? But if it scraped it from online, it might be missing like the page numbers, or it might be missing the volume number of a journal article or something like that. So you do have to check it, but it is formatted if the information is there. So this is one way that you can help create a reference list pretty quickly. But I'll show you a better one with the next tool. So the next tool I want to show you is Zotero. By a show of hands, again, thumbs up or visual hands, how many people have heard about or used Zotero? I'm seeing some shaking heads, no, maybe kind of yes, a couple of thumbs up, a couple of hands. Okay, this is good. So I'm showing you some of you new things, which is really great. Zotero is what's called a reference library system or reference managing system. You might call it also like a citation software. I use it for all of those things. And this is going to be where I spend like a good chunk of today talking about Zotero, because really they should pay me for how much I promote their stuff, but it's really cool. So Zotero, you can get it from zotero.org. You can get it free with a space limit, but the space limit for free is actually still pretty high. I pay for like the first or second tier, and I still only have it like halfway full. I'm going to talk to you about 3 of the many ways that I use Zotero. In truth, I use it more than the 3 ways, but when I did a test run of this session with some folks, I had 5 ways, and the 5 ways took me a whole hour to talk about. So there's lots of things that Zotero can do. I won't be able to feature them, but I wanted to feature these 3 to help you work smarter rather than harder. So the first one I'm going to talk to you about is in Zotero, you can upload or otherwise embed readings, whether they're articles, dissertation, book chapters, books, websites, videos, news articles, blogs, all kinds of things that you might be using for your coursework or your dissertation. You can put them into your Zotero library, and you can do different things in there. You can read, you can annotate, you can organize into projects. Let me show you what Zotero looks like. So I'm going to stop sharing my screen over here so that I can share it on my other screen here. Okay, still with me? Yeah, okay, thanks. So this is what a Zotero library looks like when you've been working in it for like 4 years. I started in truth, my Zotero library in 2019 after I finished my dissertation. And man, I have FOMO. I really wish that I had done this when I was in my dissertating work, because it really has saved me a lot of time. So don't stress about how many items are over here. I want to show you some of the things that I do here in Zotero. So you can see on the left-hand side here that I have different folders set up for maybe different classes or different projects I'm working on. I'm not going to be able to tell you about group libraries, but you can Google what these are. These are also really helpful. It is really easy to bring a reading over into your Zotero library. So I want to show you how to do that here. You can do it in a number of different ways. I'm going to show you the drag and drop method. So I'm going to make my Zotero window just a little bit smaller for the sake of demonstration here. This is the way that I embed most of my new things into Zotero. I find a PDF. You can see the file name of the PDF is random. It's inconsequential because you're going to see what happens. When I have something ready that I want to embed, like I've downloaded this PDF from Google Scholar, I click it, I drag it, and I drop it. You can see the word copy come up there into my library. And now it's going to be starting to do some magic. You can see it here. And you can see it here. It's now populated right here. So I'm going to organize my things here by the date that I modified it. And you can see what Zotero has done is it pulled all of this bibliographic information here on the right-hand side from this article. It pulled the title, all of the authors. You can see how many authors there are, the abstract, the journal name, it's the volume issue, all of this information likely from the DOI, the digital object identifier. This is a place where you can upload information like this, but you always want to make sure that you double check the information. So if you're familiar with APA formatting, for example, in journal titles, we don't capitalize everything, but guess what? If I right click on this, I can really easily change how this is capitalized. I also might have this question about, is the journal name really just youth? I can double click this and it opens up the PDF inside Zotero like this. And I myself read my readings inside Zotero just like this. And see, I can confirm, okay, yes, the name of the journal is actually just youth. I like to double check names when they automatically populate. Sometimes it recognizes if the editor for the journal is listed on the page, it might grab them, or sometimes it misses accents on names. But a quick scan here, I can see all of this information is correct. Making sure that this information that it pulled in here is correct will be really important for your next step. But as I said, I literally can go in here and I can read, I can highlight, I can click on my highlights and add comments as I'm reading. I can add what's called tags to my articles. So I usually use things like the keywords here. So something like LGBT+, adding different tags. I can also do what's called creating a note, an item note like this. If you prefer not to write in here, but you like to keep your notes separate, you can write notes here for this piece. What is important about all of this is that inside of your library, I can now search for anything, whether it's words in the PDF, words in my notes, or any tags that I have added. So I can look for the word right. And it should show up. See how I wrote the word right inside my notes? And anything where I use the word right, or any of the entries in my references that use the word right. Let me do something that's more consequential, like Black feminist thought. I can look for all of the things, whether it's a note or the article or a dissertation, that I have used the word, or the authors have used that word, Black, or phrase, Black feminist thought. Yeah, I'm seeing a comment in the chat. Wow, this is awesome. Yes, it is. Please use Zotero. That's the whole reason why I want to show you this, because I just am amazed at how much we can do with this. So that was the first way that I use Zotero. I upload a reading into it. I make sure the bibliographic information is accurate. And then I can go in by double clicking it and opening it and reading it. I can add tags. I can add notes, like summary notes, as I read it. And then I can search any of those things when I go to write about a particular topic later. Let me take us back to our PowerPoint to show you the next tip or way that I use Zotero. The second way that I use Zotero is in generating an accurate reference list. And this is going to be based on making sure all of the information, that bibliographic information, that either was ported over or that you had to manually type into an item, making sure it's all there. It will create a reference list for you with all of the right information and all of the right formatting for you automatically. So let me show you what that looks like. I have multiple screens, so this is why I have to keep like going back and forth, but I appreciate the patience. Okay, so we're back in my Zotero library. You can see I've got folders, for example, for everything that I referenced or referred to or assigned in this class, the EDUR 9232 Advanced Qualitative Research. I can look through this list. I can even search within this list, but let's imagine for some reason in this class or project, I want to create a reference list. I can pick and choose like this, clicking each one. I can press Control and click to choose multiple. I can also hit Control A to choose all of them. All 52 things are selected. Anytime that I'm highlighting a particular entry in my Zotero like this, if I right click, you're going to see a lot of different options. I can't go through them all, but I want to show you this one called Create Bibliography from Items. What this is going to do is it's asked you for what style, and in education right now we are using APA 7th edition. It asks you, do you want citations or do you want, it calls it bibliography, but in APA we call it references. And I choose to copy it to the clipboard, and you're going to see why in a moment. So I've copied these. Let's choose a bunch, right? Let's choose the whole thing. I'm going to create a bibliography from all of the things in this folder. I'm going to hit OK. Now I'm going to open up an empty Word document, and I'm just going to paste in all of my references. And it's now pasted in six pages of references. What you should notice is they all are indented properly, at least with the hanging indent. We've got all the information. We have the DOI links to articles. We've got book publishers listed correctly. And you might also notice here that it automatically alphabetized them for you. I could have selected 5 different random ones here. Let's delete this just to show you that trick again. I'm going to pick, I'm going to organize by year. It has nothing to do with how it's organized, but I'll pick some random ones here. I'll just pick, just 5 random ones, copy using APA, the bibliography, copy it to my clipboard, and I'm going to paste it again into Word. It automatically alphabetizes it for you and correctly formats everything. Now, the caveat to this is you might notice with my rulers visible here that for some reason Zotero likes to put in information here. It likes to, indent it strangely into the margin. So you do have to fix that. And you notice like I kept I have a little note to myself. I was missing the page numbers on this reference. So this is making me laugh a little bit, but this is a really quick way to have an accurate reference list here. I know somebody put in the comments, magic. There is a question here. Do you check the entire citation for the article when you check it originally, or do you focus on checking the things you mentioned? Title, journal title, authors. Okay, good question. Thanks for asking that. Let's go back to my library. For me, I check things as soon as I put them into my library. Now, for me, I do have a kind of shorthand to myself that if I'm in my main library and I see something that has the wrong capitalization, like you can see this one is also missing the year. If I haven't fixed the capitalization, it's a signal to me that I had to dump a whole bunch of PDFs into here, probably because I had to update my computer, which would have made me close all of my, like umpteen different tabs of articles that I have open that haven't put in here. So usually when I put something into my library, in that moment, I go through to make sure the bibliographic information is correct. Let's actually work on this one because this one is incomplete. As you can see, it's missing a lot of information. Now, the second part of your question is, do we put in all of this stuff? No. Because Zotero works across many different reference styles, it's going to ask you for things that in education we don't look for. The things that we look for in APA for education, we need to make sure we have the right item type. So this is a journal article. Other common ones are a book section, a thesis, which is the same category for a dissertation. You might also have a book. Making sure you have the right type will ensure you have the right sections here. Then title, the authors. If there is a book section, I might need to add the editor like this. So you saw how I did that, right? I just hit the plus and then I change what kind of person it is. The abstract, the publication. For a journal article, we have volume and issue that we need. For a book chapter, we would need the book title. Pages, so what is the page range for the piece, the date, and a book or book chapter would also have publisher, and the DOI or the URL, wherever you got the article from. Usually, most academic articles have a DOI. So those are the only things I fill out. I don't fill out the series, this journal abbreviation, the ISSN, short title, all of this other stuff, I don't fill that stuff in. But if for some reason you put something in to Zotero and it didn't recognize that information for you, it's really easy to update this yourself. So you can see what I did. I kind of zoomed out nicely. This provides me with the reference information here so I can make sure I have everything correct. I can change the title of the article to make sure it's in sentence case formatting, except for acronyms, proper nouns, things like that. The publication for this, okay, I can see it's critical education. So I can highlight this and it's not going to let me drag, but that's okay. I can just type it. You can see it's already recognizing the publication, the journal articles that I already have from that. Now the volume and the number is 13 and 1. The pages are 17 to 35. The date is 2022. I'm just getting all of this information from right here. And this doesn't have a DOI because this is more of like a kind of magazine journal, but it does give me the URL. And with the URL, I can try to copy it here and paste it into here. Now, what happens with this one, because there is no DOI, I suppose I could probably paste it also there so that whenever I create the reference for this item, doing it the same way I did the others, and I'm just going to paste it down here. Okay, it pulled all of the information that I needed from that. Yeah, you're welcome. Okay, so I'm showing you all my tips and tricks. I've showed you how I've created a new entry into my Zotero by dragging and dropping it into my library. I've showed you how to check and update the bibliographic information for an item as it comes in. And I've also showed you how if I right-click and generate a bibliography from one or more items that I've selected, it will create a reference list for me. Now I want to show you the best tip of all for Zotero, the third tip. So let me get my screen share going on the other side. My third and favorite tip that I want to show you for Zotero is that you can embed citations and create a reference list as you are writing your papers. None of this like having to type out citations manually. You can bring those into a paper as you're working. And I'm going to show you how to do that. So let me stop my sharing, and I'm going to bring us back to this Word document over here. I know I'm going through a lot really quickly, but luckily I'm recording it, so you'll be able to view all of this later. Now, I mentioned how Zotero is free. All you need to do is download the program onto your computer. It works on a PC or a Mac. Once you do that, you can add extensions for different things like Microsoft Word or Google Docs or Google Chrome. You can see that I have the extension for Zotero in my Word already here. When I use it like this, I just need to make sure that I have Zotero actually opened. Like I had to open up the program and make sure it's running. But now as I'm typing this paper, I can add a citation like this. I stop here, I go to my Zotero tab, and I hit add or edit citation. It's going to make sure the first time it works in a Word file or Google Doc file what type of citation style you want. So yeah, we want APA 7th edition. We're going to store the citation as fields, and we're going to automatically update the citations. This is going to be really important, especially as you're working on your dissertation. So hit OK. And now what it does is it opens up this little red pop-up. And what it's doing now is Word is communicating with Zotero. And what I can do in this search engine is search for a citation. So I can search for an author name like this. I'm just picking random things. And it will generate the citation like this. I can hit space. And let's say I start searching a topic, Black feminist theory. It's going to take a minute. Okay, so it's pulling up things that say Black feminist theory in it. I'm going to just pick this one by Carvey. Notice what it did. It moved Carby to the beginning. I can also, when I'm inside one of these citations, like let's say I'm quoting myself here, I can write comma, page 123. Notice what it did there. It put the page number there. And let's say that's it. Those are all the citations I want to put there. I press enter. And hypothetically, okay, I had an extra space there, so it wasn't recognizing it. So I picked two different pieces. It added them to my paper. It alphabetized them for me. Let me also show you what it can do. I already have this set up here, so I will show you what this is in a little bit. This is my last tip, but I have a section I need to start in my paper for references. Now I can go to the second option, add or edit bibliography, and look at what it did. Look at what it did. It added the references automatically for the things that I cited in this paper. Now, let's imagine, for example, I'm going to type another gibberish sentence. I want to add another citation. I don't know if I have anyone named Mark. Okay, I did. Good. I've added this third citation. Look what happened. Automatically, as I added that citation, it automatically updated my references for me as I go along. Now, let's imagine I realized this sentence, I need to delete it while I'm editing. I'm going to delete it. Now, my references won't automatically update like in that direction, but all I have to do is hit refresh. And look at what it did. It removed the Mark's reference from my reference list. So it only has the references for the two things that I've cited in this fake paper that I started writing for us. Okay. So it has, I've demonstrated it in Microsoft Word. Let me actually demonstrate it also in Google Docs here. So I've uploaded a paper that I have written. I've submitted. It's not yet published. I've put it into Drive. It is a docx file, so I'll show you what that looks like in here. I did have to download into Chrome the Zotero extension, but it's really easy to do. And you'll notice what happens because this is a docx file. I need to change it into a regular Google Docs file. It's a really simple, easy step that all you need to do is go to File and save it as a Google Doc. And now I can show you the same thing. I can do the exact same thing here in Google Docs as I did in Microsoft Word. I can go to Zotero. I can add a citation. Okay, it's going to make sure that I do, in fact, sign into my account. It's going to double check my formatting that I want. And now I can do the same thing as I did before. I can add citations just as I did in Word. And boom, it added the citation right there for me. This is actually something that I wrote with Zotero in Word. I predominantly work in Word. But if I had been working here, it would have updated the reference list down here as well. Same as I demonstrated for Microsoft Word. Hopefully your minds are blown here, right? I'm hoping. This is the tip I wish I had when I was a doctoral student. Okay, so last but not least, I want to show you a couple of things on Microsoft Word that I think are going to help you to work smarter rather than harder. Now, I know a lot of people might be working in Google Docs and typing out things in Google Docs, but ultimately you're going to need to share your dissertation as a Word file with possibly your advisor. If not that person, then definitely the College of Graduate Studies. So it is going to be important for you to be proficient in Microsoft Word. I have a couple of tips that I use for how I use Microsoft Word myself and with the students that I work with. So this first one is going to take you to a playlist that I have set up on how to set up a thing called Microsoft Styles. By show of hands or the thumbs up or thumbs down, how many people have heard of Microsoft Styles? I'm thinking only a few people have said yes, more people have said no. Microsoft Styles is another way to help you work smarter rather than harder. So let's take you back to my Microsoft Word documents. I'm going to share a different screen now. Okay, so Microsoft Styles is this pane. Sorry, I'm trying to move the thing here. This pane right here, yours might be smaller, especially if you're working in a laptop, but it's going to be right under Home and Styles. If it's not there, you can always right click onto the toolbar and you can customize your ribbon to make sure you see it. Microsoft Styles is going to help you format your heading titles. And we'll see why this is important in a minute. It's going to help you format them once you have them set up to level 1, level 2, level 3 headings. I've even created, like, you know, when I was manually typing my references back in the day, I even have references set up. I have the normal paragraph set up. That playlist URL or the QR code is going to take you both to the same places. It's going to show you how to set these up on your own computers. And there are 3 different videos there. The first one is how to set these up so it works for every single Word file that you now create after this point. The second one is how to adjust it for an existing file, which likely will be the case for you now. The third one is how to create a table of contents based on having different formatting headings set up. So, like, let's imagine I'm just going to randomly type, you know, my title here. I have these different section headings here, and this one is going to be another, here we go, heading 2. I can insert, whoops, here, I think it's references, a table of contents, and I show you how to adjust the formatting, but it pulls all the headings based on the level of style that I attributed it to. The other nice thing as a reader of papers, if you use Microsoft Styles over here, I just opened it on the left-hand menu, or you can hit Control F to find something. I can organize by headings, and this helps me to jump around in really long papers too. So I really recommend Styles, which I was showing you in the other paper, the Microsoft, the PowerPoint. Sorry, the words are escaping me. Okay, so let me go back to sharing my other screen here. The final thing I want to share with you all in the next couple of minutes is tracked changes. Now, track changes is something that I use with the students that I mentor to help give them feedback or to suggest edits in their different papers. So there are different things here that I want to show you, and this is going to be another time where I'm going to show you something live on the screen. But I'm going to show you 4 different important elements to using Microsoft track changes. Do you all use Microsoft track changes? Kind of, maybe. A couple of people said yes, a couple of people said no. Okay. So let me show you some track changes. Now, because tech companies love to update their stuff, how track changes look right now is exactly the current update for Microsoft Word. This changes a lot, but I will show you what it looks like currently. I am using Microsoft 365, which we all have access to as folks who are connected to Georgia Southern. You have access to this as well as me, you being students, me being a faculty member. Now, what you can see here is in the review tab, there's going to be a lot of different options here. If a faculty member tells you that they use track changes, and for some reason you can't see any changes, it is likely because you're in some kind of simple markup. Like you might not even be able to see these red lines here, which usually indicate there's some kind of change. If you show all markup, it's going to show you things that were crossed out or replaced. You see, I added this footnote here. All of this red shows you things that I have changed or updated in this as I started to track changes here. You might have noticed too, this kind of like funky looking checkbox with a looking like a comment box, but then there's also this kind of comment box here. Let me tell you what's going on here. This comment is what we call a resolved comment. You can see I, just for the sake of demonstrating, added a bunch of random comments to the same article, the same book chapter I showed you earlier. Now, when you're showing a comment like this, if I right click or click on these three little dots here, you have two main options, resolve or delete. Resolve just does that. Now, it still recognizes that the comment is there. It doesn't actually take it away. So what I tell the folks working with me is, oh Lord, it does not want to embed those, but that's okay. I tell my folks to, in fact, delete the comments, which will literally remove those from the file. If you don't see comment boxes for some reason, like Microsoft Word only recently put them over here in this right-hand window. I'm not a huge fan of that because I prefer to like literally see them big and huge. If they're not showing you comments for some reason, you can go to this option here, show comments, and help you to change the way that they're viewed. So if this one was not resolved, I'm going to unresolve it. We are now looking at them contextually, which means like as I read, any comments that are not deleted or unresolved will show up as we read them. Or if you just want to see them all at one time, whatever's left, you can show the list of comments on the right-hand side. Again, this is in Microsoft 365. That's the most recent version, and it's just recently made this update, which I'm not a huge fan of myself, but it is what it is. So I've showed you that if someone says they've tracked changes and you don't see them, it might be this markup version. Like, for example, you might be in no markup or even simple markup. You might want to see all markup. I like to toggle between them because sometimes my own edits to my own papers can get messy and I don't want to see all the edits around because then I'm like, what does the real paper look like? So you can change those for yourself. And I've also showed you how you can view your comments. You can resolve them or delete them. And I would go with the preferences for your dissertation chair in terms of how you send them back a revised version. Do they want to see track changes? Do they still want to see their comment boxes or not? So let me one more time bring us back to the PowerPoint because I'm just about ready for the Q&A section. Okay, so in this really quick workshop, I have gone over 3 different tools: Google Scholar, the search engine of choice. I have gone over Zotero, the magical machine that will let you cite and reference things as you write. and a couple of things in Microsoft Word that you might not be familiar with around track changes and the Microsoft styles. So I've showed you a lot of different things. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to stop the video recording so that I can see what kinds of questions or concerns or things that you all have. And I will talk about, the future sessions that we have. So let me stop the recording.